Good morning. Welcome to Cumberland Valley Martial Arts and Yoga Center. My name is Sam, and we're going to go ahead and practice our yoga again this Saturday morning. So, if you were here last morning, you might have heard us, or if you were here last Saturday, you may have heard us mention that we might try to move some of these Saturday morning classes outside. Unfortunately, when it's 32 degrees and when I wake up, there's zero chance of that happening. So, maybe we'll shoot again for next week. Uh, Last week we had people practicing with us from Florida all the way to Massachusetts, here in Pennsylvania, of course. So who knows where everybody's from this morning. If you want to take a moment and drop a line and just say hello, let us know you're here. That's fine. No need to do that. Just offering that if you want to do that. Last week, with a lot of anxiety, we focused a lot on grounding poses and detoxification. And this week, there's starting to get just a little bit of buzz about maybe things starting to open back up here in the near future. So we're going to focus on a lot of opening type of poses. So when you're ready, and thank you again for joining us this morning. When you're ready, go ahead and find your space on the mat. I like to start at the top of my mat. We're going to start off standing this morning. So when you're ready, come on up to your mat. You can place your feet about hip distance apart, just a comfortable standing position. Let the shoulders be soft. If you want to close your eyes and that's comfortable for you, you can choose to do that. If you want to keep them open, that's fine too. We're going to just start off with a couple nice deep breaths in through the nose and release through the mouth, just inviting fresh air and fresh opportunity in on the breath, and then exhaling staleness, tightness, negativity, things that won't serve you in your space for the next hour. And then eventually, if it's there for you, you could go ahead and close your mouth and start to breathe through your nose. Maybe think about rotating the palms out to open the chest, open the heart, open the shoulders, as you just start to breathe in and out through the mouth, or I'm sorry, through the nose. But if your nose happens to be clogged for allergies, just breathe through your mouth and you'll have a great practice. As we start to breathe, again, think about inviting freshness in on the breath, exhaling staleness. Think about setting your intention for your practice if you like to do that here over the next few moments while we breathe. If you like to connect the body, the breath, the feel, you could lay your left hand over your belly and right hand over heart center and just start to feel that connection of the breath and the body. We're starting to work our inhale up to maybe a 5 or 6 count, finding that little pause at the top of the breath, then releasing the exhale with a similar count, finding that little pause at the bottom of the breath. A few more breaths, we'll start to connect our breath and our movement. So if you want to open your eyes, bring your room into focus if you haven't already. Let's start off with a nice big inhale, bringing our hands up overhead, bringing the shoulders up to the ears, reaching high, spreading the hands, exhaling, relaxing the shoulders and letting the arms float down to the side. And then we'll take another inhale, sweep the arms back up, bring the shoulders up, reach up high, maybe testing the balance and coming onto the toes. And then exhaling, sweeping the arms down to the side, lowering the heels, and one more of those, however you choose, either flat-footed or coming up onto the toes, and then exhaling down. And let's go ahead and start off with some half moon lateral stretches. Let's take the right hand and inhale and reach out to the side. Press that right hip down towards the mat while the right arm reaches out long. Feel that great stretch through the rib cage all the way to the top of the hip. Exhale, come back to center. We'll start our next inhale, sweeping the left hand open, keeping that left hip pressed down towards the mat while that left arm reaches out long, big stretch. Exhale, coming back to center. And we'll flow that a few times from side to side. We'll inhale to open. Try not to round that shoulder close. Exhale as you come back. Just imagine your body sandwiched between two panes of glass, staying nice and straight from side to side. Maybe that gaze tries to peek out that shoulder that you're leaning away from. Inhale to open. Exhale to close. Let's do one more on the left side. And then our next inhale, we'll take another big full body stretch, reaching up high towards the ceiling. Exhaling, coming down. Then we'll take another big inhale up. As we exhale this time, we're going to twist towards our right side. Bring that right hand to the front side of the left hip. Left hand to the front side of the right hip. Right hand to the back side of the left hip. And twist. Then we'll inhale, bringing both hands up overhead. Exhale down into our chair pose. Pull the hips back so the knees go behind the feet. Then we'll inhale and sweep up. Exhale, twisting towards the left side. So now the left hand goes to the back side of the right hip. Right hand to the front side of the left hip as we twist through the core. Inhale to come back to center, sweeping hands up overhead. Exhaling into our chair pose, drawing those hips back. Look down at the knees and make sure you see big toes sticking out in front of the knees. Inhale to sweep up. Exhale, twisting to the right. Gaze over that right shoulder. Inhale as we sweep back up. Exhaling into our chair pose. Inhaling to sweep up. Exhale as we twist to our left side, looking over that left shoulder. Inhale to come back to center. Up overhead. Exhale into a forward fold. Gentle bend in the knees, hinging at the hips. Raising those hips toward the ceiling and letting the weight shift to the front of the feet. Let the back muscles release on each exhale, feeling that back getting a little longer. On our next inhale, we're going to come up nice and slow, one vertebrae at a time. Let the shoulders round back, then the head come up last. Then we'll inhale and sweep hands back up overhead. Exhale, twist to the right. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale to our chair pose. Inhale. Exhale, twisting to the left. Inhale, back to center. Exhale to chair pose. Draw those hips back. Inhale, up. Exhale, twist to the right. Inhale to center. Exhaling to a chair pose. Check those knees, make sure they're behind the toes. Watch that balance. Inhale, up. Exhale, twisting to the left. Inhale, back to center one more time. Exhaling to forward fold, hinge at the hips. Let that weight transfer to the front of the feet while the hips start to raise towards the ceiling. Feel that release in the lower back. Head's hanging heavy. Maybe take ragdoll arms here, adding just a little weight, a little lengthening to the spine. And then again, we'll inhale, coming up again nice and slow. Let the shoulders round back, then the head come up last. And take a breath. Now we're going to inhale, hands up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. And we're going to put the hands on the mat and step back to our tabletop position. So knees will come down to the mat about hip distance apart, stacked under the hips. Hands will go about shoulder distance apart, and wrists and elbows will stack right under the shoulders. We're going to set up for some cat-cow motion here. So as we inhale, we're going to tip the tailbone up in the air, arching the back, bringing the chest and gaze forward while we press the mat away from the hands. Scoop the belly in. Exhale, tuck the tailbone. Keep that belly scooped, round the back, press the shoulders away from the spine, mat away from the hands, tuck the chin. Inhale, tipping the tailbone up, arching the back, shoulder blades come slightly towards the spine. Exhale, tucking the tailbone, rounding, opening that back. Inhale. Exhale to your cat. Round, tuck that chin, keep the mat pressed away from the hands. Inhale to open. Finding our cow pose. Exhale to close. Finding our cat pose. And then coming back to a neutral spine, neutral tabletop. And we'll try some spinal balance. So we're going to take, on our next inhale, take the right hand and left foot straight out, crown of the head faces forward. Lead with that left heel behind you. And then we're going to take our next inhale, keeping everything straight like a big needle on a compass. We're going to open towards our right side, leading with that right middle finger. Nice straight line all the way back to that left heel. And as you take your next exhale, let's close and sit that right hand and left knee down. Then we'll inhale, left hand, right foot out, lead with the right heel. Crown of the head stays faced forward. And as we start our next inhale, we'll go ahead and open like a compass towards the left side. Again, leading with that left middle finger. Continuing to breathe. And as you start your next exhale, coming back to center, sitting left hand and right knee down. So staying in our tabletop position, just imagine there's a big circular face of a clock here beside us on our right side. So we're just going to take the right hand straight out, and we're going to inhale, and the best we can, follow the face of that clock around. Nice big reverse arm circle. Inhale as we open towards the top. Exhale as we close and round. One more. Inhale to open. Exhale to close. And we'll sit that right hand down and move over to the left side. So for this, crown of the head can stay face forward. It can sort of trace around with the left arm. So we'll start to inhale, opening. Exhale, coming around and closing. Inhale to open. Exhale to close. One more. Inhale to open. Exhale to close. And we'll sit that down. And just go ahead and come on back. You can cross your ankles behind you and just sort of roll over those ankles and find seated. Then extend your legs out straight. You can also just swing your legs around, whatever is comfortable for you. And we'll just warm up a little bit of the core with some boat pose. So start to think about tipping back and finding your tailbone. And we're going to think about trying to keep from rounding the back. We want to keep the back nice and straight here for our boat pose. And we're going to give lots of options. You can find the option that's right for you. So the first thing we want to do is just find that little lean back, core engaged, shoulders gently rested, rib cage gently lifted to keep that back nice and straight. And here's where we'll start to work the core. So if you want to leave the heels gently rested on the mat, that's fine. Option 2 would be to support behind the knees and bring those legs up, find that balance. And you can stay right here if you like this option. If you want to lose the support, keep the knees bent, that's another option. Straightening the legs could be another option. Just try to keep that back nice and straight so we don't round it. And breathe here in your boat pose. Might find just a little shaking in the legs. Let's take one more breath together. Nice big inhale. And as we exhale, if you don't already have the heels on the mat, go ahead and bring them to the mat. And then we'll just sit up nice and straight. Take a breath. And we're going to cross the ankles and roll over those ankles back into a tabletop position. And from tabletop position, we're just going to go ahead and let the glutes start to settle back towards the heels, starting to find our first child's pose of the practice. And maybe taking the hands and pressing the mat away and get a little length in the spine. And then relax the elbows. Take work out of the pose and just relax. So you could choose to stack your forehead on your fists or on your hands or right on the mat. Arms could go out long or back by your side. Whatever's comfortable for you. Take a few breaths. Take the opportunity to recalibrate the breath that we had at the beginning of the practice. Check in with your intention, check in with your body. See what's feeling different from now versus the beginning of practice. We're already a quarter of the way through our practice. So from your child's pose position, let's take our arms out long if they're not already. Spread the fingers and start with your middle fingers facing forward. Make whatever adjustments are necessary for your body. And Let's go ahead and inhale and tuck those toes in. As we exhale, use the core strength to raise our hips and find our first down dog of the practice. So you may notice your heels aren't touching the mat. If that's the case, that's okay. Just a little tight in the hamstrings. But as you think about starting to settle those heels towards the mat, they may or may not reach the mat. That's fine. Then think about lifting the hips towards the ceiling. As you press those heels down and lift the hips, you get a really nice stretch down the back of the legs, through the hamstrings, into those calf muscles. Then think about pressing the shoulders away from the spine and letting that crown of the head, if it had a little red light on it, might point right between those thumbs. Think about that. Now let's go ahead and inhale. We're going to shift to plank. For your plank, you can come right onto your knees if you like modified plank. As we exhale, use the core strength. Raise those hips towards the ceiling, settle the heels towards the mat. As we inhale, we're going to shift to plank, nice and slow. Keep the core engaged here. Exhale, belly scooped, finding down dog. This time we're going to go through a full vinyasa flow. So we're going to inhale to plank, then we're going to shift forward up onto our toes. Exhale down, elbows gently rub the ribs. About 2 inches off the mat, we're going to turn to the top of our feet, engage the core, come to our up dog on an inhale, exhaling to down dog, and we'll take a breath. Then we're going to go ahead and inhale the right foot up to a three-legged dog, bend at the knee, and inhale, starting to open that right hip, knee points out towards your wall to the right side, maybe up towards the ceiling. Gaze might try to follow under the right armpit. As you take your next exhale, let's untwist. Inhale, back to a three-legged dog. Exhale, sit that right foot down. Take a breath. Press your shoulders away from the spine. Then we're going to inhale, left leg up, three-legged dog. Exhale, bend at the knee. Inhale, open that left hip, pointing towards that left wall, maybe up towards the ceiling. Gaze might be trying to follow under that left armpit. Next exhale, let's go ahead and close that hip. Inhale, back to a three-legged dog. Exhale, sit that left leg down to a down dog. Look up between the thumbs. We're going to go ahead and walk the feet right up to the wrists. Or at the point where your wrists start to peel up, you can stop there and come up nice and slow, one vertebrae at a time, into our standing position. If you get dizzy when you come up, take a nice big breath in through the mouth, in through the nose, and release through the mouth. Now let's go ahead and inhale, hands up. Engage the core. We're going to take a little back bend. Don't throw the neck back. Keep that neck just like there's a little grapefruit under it. Exhale, hips under center. Soft knees, swan diving into a forward fold. We're going to inhale to a half lift. Now imagine someone's pulling your hips straight back behind you. Crown of the head's reaching forward. Exhale, forward fold. Hands on the mat, stepping back to your version of plank. Inhale, shifting forward. Exhale down for your chaturanga push-up. Core engaged for up dog. Exhale, we'll find down dog. Inhale, right leg to a three-legged dog. Exhale, stepping forward to a lunge. Inhale, bringing the left foot to meet the right. Finding our half lift. Exhaling to forward fold. Inhale, coming up nice and slow. This time letting the hands float out, up overhead. Eyes follow the hands down on the exhale to heart center. We're going to inhale and sweep back up, core engaged, another back bend. Push gently out. Exhale, hips under center, soft knees. Forward fold, shifting the weight to the front of the feet. Inhale, coming to a halfway lift. That weight distributes evenly over the feet now. Exhale, forward fold, back to the front. Stepping back to plank. Inhaling, shifting forward. Exhaling down. Core engaged for your back bend and your up dog. Exhaling to down dog. Inhale, left foot up, three-legged dog. Exhale, stepping forward, lunge pose. Inhale, right foot to meet the left, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, coming up again, nice and slow, one vertebrae at a time, shoulders round back, hands float out and up. Exhale, down. And we'll just rotate the palms out. Take a breath there. Just bear with me 1 second. Lots of talking going on. Okay. So from here, we're going to go ahead and inhale, hands up. Exhale, back to that chair pose we found in the beginning of class. Just bring those hips straight back. Make sure when you look down, you see toes in front of knees. Let's set up on an inhale. As we exhale, we're going to twist to the right side. So the right hand's going to go find the lower back. Left hand's going to find that right hip. Draw that left hip back so the left knee isn't sticking out in front of the right. Gaze over the right shoulder. As you exhale, untwist. Inhale, sweep up. Exhale, forward fold. Shifting that weight to the front of the feet, hips lift up towards the ceiling, soft knees. Now we're going to inhale up, coming up nice and slow. Hands float up, exhaling back to that chair pose. Setting up together on an inhale. And as we exhale, left hand to the lower back, right hand to the left outer hip. Gaze over that left shoulder while we draw that right hip back. Continue to breathe. As we exhale, we'll untwist. Inhale, sweep up. Exhale, forward fold. Ragdoll arms here might feel good again, giving your back some length. Crown of the head stays facing down towards the mat. And then let's inhale and come up again, nice and slow. Let the shoulders round back, hands float out to the side. Go ahead and stand with your feet about hip distance apart. And we'll inhale, sweeping hands up. This time we're going to exhale, step the right foot back to warrior two. So line up the right heel with the left heel. Draw a straight line back from the left heel to line up with the right. Stack this left knee right over top of that left ankle. Make sure if we look inside this left knee, we see a little bit of that big toe, preserving the safety on that knee. And give these thighs that little sensation like they're slightly rotating in. And I like to put a little pressure on the pinky side edges of my feet. Really locks the base in on warrior two. Now let's go ahead and take the arms out long. Rest the shoulders. Gently lift the rib cage. Gaze is going to stay out over that front left middle finger. And breathe, feeling the power of warrior two. Now we'll visit our radiant warrior. We're going to turn front hand, left hand palm up. We're going to take that right hand and just going to bind it to the sacrum. So the back of the hand is going to touch the lower back. Then we're going to inhale and sweep this left hand up, just like making a big rainbow. Follow it back with your gaze. Reach out long with that left arm. Feel the opening in the rib cage all the way to the hip. Keeping that left knee stacked on that left ankle. As we start our next inhale, we're going to come back and find warrior two. Check in with your base. Now we're going to go ahead and bend our left arm into a 90, and we're going to lay that right forearm right above that left knee. Inhale, open to our extended side angle. So once this right hand passes high 12, turn it pinky side down, and make sure we don't close this right shoulder. We want to open it. Gaze might be trying to go back behind that right armpit. Option to take this left hand straight out towards that right side. Let's exhale and bring that left hand back. And then let's take this right hand and just bring it to our right hip for a moment. And so while we're here, we're going to picture that big face of the clock like we had in our tabletop position. And let's just inhale, sweep the right hand up, let the gaze follow. Exhale, bring it down. Inhale, sweep it up. Exhale, bring it down. One more time, we'll go up. Exhale it down. And then we'll inhale and come back to warrior two. So imagine someone has a hold of your left wrist and your right wrist. As we inhale, the person with the left wrist just gently tugs forward. As we exhale, person with the right wrist gently tugs back. So we're moving the torso, but just what's above the waistline. Obviously the whole torso is above the waistline. Exhale back. Inhale, shift that left hand forward. This time we exhale back, straighten that left leg, don't lock the knee. Inhale and shift forward. Make an L shape with your left hand and bring it right into that left hip and open up into our triangle pose. Gentle pressure with that left hand into that left hip. Right hand's reaching right up towards high 12. So option to stay here, option to drop that right hand inside that left leg. I like to have a little gentle pressure with the back of that left hand into that inside shin, helping that right shoulder stay open. Let's put a bend back in our left knee, then inhale, press into that left foot, and sweep back up and find warrior two. Then we're going to go ahead and pivot on the ball with this back foot, come around and frame the front foot, finding our lunge pose. Go ahead and bring that right knee down about an inch off the mat, and then as you exhale, press through that right heel. Feel that nice hip flexor stretch at the top of that right leg, maybe even a little bit at the back of that left. Then go ahead and bring that right knee down to the mat. We'll go ahead and come up into making sure the left knee is stacked on the left ankle. Sweep the hands up, engage the core, take a little back bend here. Exhale, come back under center. Sweep down and frame that front foot. Use the toes on the right foot to lift that right knee. Then we're going to inhale, bringing that right leg to meet the left. Come into a halfway lift. Exhale to forward fold. And then we're going to inhale, coming up nice and slow. Shoulders round back, hands float out to the side, up overhead. Exhaling to heart center. And then you can inhale and sweep hands back up. Exhale, we're going to step left foot back now to warrior two. And again, making sure we set that base nice and strong. Line up that right heel with the left. Stack the right knee over the right ankle. Make sure we see a little big toe inside that right knee. Little gentle inward rotation on those thighs with a little pressure on the pinky side edges of the feet. Shoulders gently relaxed, rib cage lifts. Let's take this left hand, bind the back of that left hand to the sacrum or lower back. Right hand palm up. Inhale, open, sweeping up over that rainbow with the right hand. Gaze can follow. Keep that right knee stacked on the ankle. Continue to breathe. Reach out long with that right hand. Feel the stretch all the way into the right hip. Down through the rib cage. Next inhale, let's float back and find our warrior two. And then we'll go ahead and bend this right arm to a 90. Sit that forearm right above that right knee. Inhale, open to our extended side angle. When that left hand goes past high 12, start to lead with the pinky side edge. Keep that left shoulder drawn back. Gaze might be trying to peek outside or under that left armpit. Right hand option to go straight out towards that left side. Keeping that left shoulder pulled back. Next exhale, let's bring that right hand back. Go ahead and bring that left hand to the left hip for a moment. And we'll start those Nice big arm circles on that big face of the clock. Inhale, sweeping up with the left arm. Gaze could follow. Exhale as it sweeps down. Inhale to open. Exhale to close. One more big circle, inhaling up. Exhaling down. And then we'll come back and find warrior two. Now we're going to take those little shifts above the waist. So inhale forward. Exhale back, left wrist tugs back. Inhale forward. Exhale back. Little lateral stretches. Inhale forward. Exhale back, straighten that front leg, don't lock the knee. Inhale forward, take that L shape with the right hand. Find that little hip crease in the right side, press into it. Left hand floats up to high 12. And if you like this here with that nice little pressure on that hip joint, stay right there. Other options to release that right hand right down inside that right shin. Continuing to breathe. Let's put that bend back in our left knee. Inhale as we press it, or right knee. Inhale as we press into that right foot. Float back up, find warrior two. Then we're going to go ahead and pivot on the ball of this back foot, sweep it around, and find our low lunge pose. Bring that left knee down about an inch off the mat, and then exhale and press through that left heel. Again, feel that nice hip flexor opening on that left leg. Continuing to breathe. Now let's put that left knee down on the mat gently. Come up with the right knee stacked on the right ankle. Inhale and sweep hands up, engage the core. Don't throw your neck back as we take a little back bend. And when you exhale, come back under center. Come down and frame the front foot. We use the toes on the left foot to lift that left knee. And we're going to inhale, pressing off the left toes, come up and meet the right foot. Find our halfway lift. Exhale to forward fold. Inhale, we're going to sweep up nice and slow. Let the shoulders round back. Hands start to float out to the side. Eyes follow the hands up. Exhale, back down to heart center. And we'll take a breath. In fact, you can just rotate your palms out, close your eyes. Take a breath of rest here in our standing position. Now let's inhale and sweep our hands up and exhale down into that forward fold. And then we're going to inhale to a half lift. Exhale back to forward fold. And from our forward fold, we're going to step back to down dog. And we're going to try for a broken triangle. So listen closely to the cues on this to make sure we stay safe. We're going to inhale, right leg up to a three-legged dog. Exhale, bring that right knee to the left elbow. And just before it touches, straighten that right leg out to the left side of your mat. Important cue here, pivot on that left foot, bringing that left heel into the center of the mat. And then open with the left arm, finding your broken triangle pose. And continue to breathe. Gaze might be out to the left side of your mat, or it might be up towards the ceiling with your hand. As we take the next exhale, let's gently sweep the left hand down, put it on the mat, pivot on the ball of that left foot again so it goes parallel with the long edge of the mat while the right foot sweeps back and finds down dog. And then from here, let's take a vinyasa flow. So we'll inhale and shift to plank, come forward, exhale down, elbows gently rub the ribs, core engaged for up dog, exhale to down dog, and we'll take a breath. Then we're going to inhale, left leg up to a three-legged dog. Exhale, left knee comes to the right elbow. Right before it touches, straightens out to the right side of the mat, resting on the outside pinky edge of that foot. Pivot on the ball of the left or right foot, bringing that right heel towards center of the mat. Inhale, open, reaching the right hand up to high 12. Gaze can follow. Continue to breathe. As we start our next exhale, let's sweep the right hand down, place it on the mat, pivot on the ball of the right foot while the left foot sweeps back and finds down dog. And we'll work our vinyasa flow. Inhale, shift to plank, come forward, exhale down, core engaged for up dog, exhale to down dog. And now let's bring our knees to the mat, and we'll find that well-earned child's pose, letting the glutes float back towards the heels, pressing the mat away from the hands, lengthening the spine, then relaxing the elbows, taking all work out of the pose, stacking forehead on the hands, or whatever other comfortable position is there for you. Take a few breaths. Take the opportunity to, again, check in with your intention, recalibrate your breath, scan your body, see what's feeling different from now versus the beginning of class. And then when you're ready, we'll take arms out long, spread the fingers, set up on an inhale as we tuck the toes. Exhale, we'll find down dog, raising the hips towards the ceiling, settling the heels towards the mat. Spread the shoulders away from the spine. Let's go ahead and look up towards our hands, and you can either step, baby steps, or you can float or hop right up to the front of your mat. And then we'll come up to a standing position. And we'll go ahead and think about a little balance challenge here to finalize our standing portion of the practice. Checked balance earlier today, a little iffy, so we'll see where we're going to go with it here. You do the best you can, and that's all you can ever do with balance. So a couple things that may help with your balance, finding a focus point or a drishti point somewhere on the floor, just a few feet out in front of your mat, something that won't move, you can focus on. Secondly, we like to think about drawing our belly back towards our spine and up towards our chest, really drawing all those muscles up out of the hips into our belly. And then we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna widen the right foot, really plant into that foot, starting to balance on the right side. We're gonna inhale and bring this left knee up to a 90-degree angle. Keep the toe flexed, keep the left hand on that knee. Keep your eyes on your focus point. And as you start your next inhale, we're gonna open this left hip. And we're gonna open the right arm, trying to keep that knee bent at a 90-degree angle or close to it. And if you wanna keep your focus on your drishti point, that's fine. Option to take it out and try to find that right hand if you wanna be brave. And then as you take your next exhale, let's start to close this left hip and bring the right hand in to replace the left on that knee. We're gonna cross the body at about 45 degrees, feeling just a little stretch on the outside of that left leg. Same thing here, you could take the gaze out to the left hand if you wanna try bravery. For this purpose, I'm not gonna do that. And then when you're ready, we'll swing that left knee back to center and gently set that down. And then maybe just press hips side to side, see the differences from one side to the other. And we'll set that same thing up on the other side, lifting and spreading our left foot, finding our base, finding our focus point, belly in and up. And when you're ready, we'll inhale, right leg up to that 90-degree angle, right hand to the right knee. Next inhale, we'll start to open that hip. Nice and wide. Left hand's reached out long to the left side. Breathe. When you start your next exhale, let's start to close that hip. Let that left hand come in to replace that right hand on the knee. Open the right hand wide, cross that right leg about 45 degrees across the body. Feel that little stretch on the outside of the right leg. Holding that balance as long as you can. And when you're ready to release, bringing the knee back to center. Setting that right foot down. Again, maybe just a little press side to side with the hips. Maybe some full hip circles, 2 or 3 in each direction. Might feel good here. And then let's go ahead, come back to just standing. Inhale and sweep our hands up overhead. Exhale into that forward fold. We're going to put our hands on our mat, step back to plank, work our vinyasa flow. So we're going to inhale and shift up onto the toes. Exhale down, elbows gently rub the ribs, core engaged, turning to the top of the feet. Up dog. Exhale. Find down dog. Come on to our knees. You can either sweep your feet around or you can cross your ankles behind you, come around and find it that way. So we're going to move into our half wild thing flow. So we'll start that by starting from staff pose. Sit up nice and straight. Make sure our back's up nice and straight. Pull those toes back. Feel that nice little stretch on the back of the calves. And then relax that. And let's go ahead and take our right leg out to the right side. Left leg, we're going to bend at the knee, plant this right heel just to the left side of that groin area and in against this right thigh. And for this, we'll go ahead and pull our toes back on the right foot. And let's take our left hand, put it right behind that back left pocket. Wrist maybe 2 or 3 inches out away from touching the glute. And then we're going to imagine we have a belt on. And if somebody would take that belt buckle, grab it here and just lift it to here. So that's the motion. So the left foot and the right heel won't leave the mat, just your hips. And we're going to use the left hand and just guide like we're guiding right up through the center. So let's inhale, lift those hips up, let that right hand guide, and let the gaze follow. Feel that nice big opening in the chest, down through the hips. Nice little twist. As we take our next exhale, let's let those hips gently glide back towards the mat. Take a breath. Think about how that went and what adjustments you may need to make. And we're going to get ready to inhale. Lift that belt buckle up again. Raise it high towards the ceiling. Guide back with that right hand. Continue to breathe. Reach out long with that right arm and feel that stretch all the way through the rib cage, reaching the top of that right hip. As we exhale, let those hips gently fall to the mat. So we're going to take a third one and a final one on this side, and we're going to give the option to let the right hand guide. If you want a little different feel and a little different opening in the right shoulder, and if this isn't for you, stay with option 1. But option 2 would be to take the back of the right hand and sort of glue it to that lower back or that sacrum. And then as we inhale, come up, just like that right hand still guide, and let the eyeballs follow. Reach back. Continue to breathe. As you take your next exhale, gently let those hips slide back down to the mat. And then from here, while we're here, we'll take a nice big half moon stretch. So we're going to take peace fingers and find the big toe. If that's not there for you, just find somewhere on your shin, maybe below the knee, and you can reach from there, okay? So we're going to take, otherwise we'll take peace fingers to big toe, sort of rotate that torso so the right rib cage is lining up with that right foot. Then we're going to inhale, sweep this left hand out, like it's going to go try to find that big toe. It may come close to it, it may not. Keep the left hip on the mat. That's your cue where you want to stop, and try not to let that left shoulder collapse closed. Keep that left shoulder open. Gaze is trying to peek outside that left shoulder. Continuing to breathe. As we take our next exhale, let's come back up to center. Rotate that torso back to neutral. And let's take this left foot out wide to the left side now. And let's tuck this right foot in so that this right heel is just to that right side of that groin area, and the rest of the foot sort of inside that left foot. We'll keep the toes pulled back on this left foot. And the right hand now will go back and sit right behind that back right pocket, maybe 1 or 2 or 3 inches, whatever's comfortable for you, right behind that pocket. Same thing, belt buckle's going to raise. We're going to inhale, sweep up with the left hand, reach out long behind us. Gaze can follow. Raise that belt buckle towards the ceiling. Feel that nice stretch down that left side. Nice twist, even a little stretch on the neck here. Continuing to breathe. Next exhale, let's float those hips right back down to the mat. Take a moment of pause, think about that, think of how that worked for you, what adjustments you may need to make with your body. And then we're going to get ready. Inhale and sweep back up. Keep that core engaged for this. Continue to breathe. Reach out long with that left hand. Maybe even spreading the fingers. Exhale, slowly come down. So we give the same option on this side as we gave on the other side. Option to stay with option 1. Option to go to option 2, taking the left hand, binding it to the sacrum or lower back. Then inhaling, just imagining that left hand still sweeping over so the gaze follows. Continuing to breathe. And when you're ready, on your next exhale, floating down to the mat. And we'll take that nice same big half moon stretch on this left side as we took on our right side. So we'll start to reach the peace fingers towards the big toe. Again, if that's not there for you, maybe the hand goes somewhere on the shin. We'll rotate that left side or that torso to line up the left side with the left leg. Then we'll inhale, open, reaching out long with this right hand like it's going out towards that left foot. Keeping that right hip down on the mat. Keeping that right shoulder open. Try not to let it close shut. Continuing to breathe, of course. As you start your next inhale, go ahead and come up. Come back to a neutral with your torso. Go ahead and bring that left foot in. And for now, let's just go ahead and come down to our mat and give those knees a nice big hug. Pull the toes back. Keep the tailbone in contact with the mat. Give a nice little hug with the knees. Maybe a little rock side to side. Giving a little extra care to those muscles on the sides of your spine. Then go ahead and let the feet come right back down to the mat about hip distance apart. We'll take the arms out wide. We're going to set up for just a few wiper knees. So we'll inhale together. And when we exhale, let the knees fall to the right side and we'll turn our gaze over our left shoulder. Just take a full breath here on this side. A little gentle, active pressure on that left leg pressing towards the right side. As we start our next inhale, let's bring those knees and gaze pointing back towards the ceiling. And then when you start your exhale, let the knees fall to the left side. Gaze over the right shoulder. Maybe just a gentle, active pressure with that right leg pressing down towards the left side. Then we'll go ahead and bring those knees and gaze back to center on the inhale. I'm going to turn slightly for our bridge pose. I think this might catch best angle, I'm not sure. So for our bridge pose, a couple options here that we'll give. We're going to start off right here just like we would for wiper knees, except we're going to bring the heels in close enough so when we lay the arms down by our side, we can touch the heels. So make sure we have that. Knees are going to stay same distance apart. As we go up, we don't want them to open, so we just want to keep them. In fact, if you have a block and you have the luxury of having a block or a blanket or anything that you can put between your knees, feel free to do that. If you don't, just be aware that we want to keep those knees about that far apart. Again, making sure we can touch the heels. Hands are going to go beside the hips. We're going to tuck the shoulder blades in towards the spine. And then we're going to go ahead and start our inhale into our bridge, just raising just the tailbone, then one vertebrae at a time, nice and slow, until we get up to maybe about the bottom of the shoulder blades or so. And imagine that same person that had that belt buckle for our half wild thing has that belt buckle. They're reaching down through the ceiling. They're lifting that belt buckle straight up towards the ceiling. Option here to stay here. Option to clasp the hands under that lower back and maybe press a little deeper into the mat, Raising those hips just a little higher. Try to relax the glutes. Make sure we're not pinching the neck. Should be able to lift that head. So as you start your next exhale, let's gently release and start to just slowly, again, one vertebrae at a time on the way down. Tailbone will touch the mat last. And then we'll sit up. We'll find that staff pose again. Walk the hips back, up nice and straight. Pull the toes back. Inhale, hands up overhead. Exhale, hinging at the hips into our forward fold. If the hands are just resting on the shins, that's fine. Go out over the toes, that's fine. But let the forward fold come through pulling the hips back and raising the crown of the head towards the feet rather than grabbing the feet and pulling. Just let them be a resting spot. So hips are being actively pulled straight back behind us. Crown of the head's actively reaching towards the toes. That rib cage is giving that lifted sensation while the shoulders are still relaxed. They're not up by our ears. Keeping that nice straight back so we don't get that big rounding hump in it. And then we'll start to inhale, relax that forward fold. And just start to make any last moves with your body that that might feel good to you. We're going to start thinking about our rest period here. And you can take whatever stretches might feel good to you. A couple ideas might be a few more wiper knees. You could take those wiper knees wide on the mat and try those. Just a nice full body stretch, laying down and reaching hands up overhead might feel good. Taking whatever last minute moves you like, maybe Baddha Konasana or butterfly might feel good for a few breaths. And then starting to think about how you want to set up for your rest period. If you have no props, and honestly, one of my favorite ways to rest is no props, just laying totally in corpse pose on the mat and finding just my peace and comfort right there. But I'm not opposed to props by any stretch, especially you'll know that if you take my classes, because we usually do a restorative at the end of that as well. So if you do have props and you do want to use them, blanket off the couch, one of your couch pillows, something under the knees feels good. If you have the luxury of having two, have one under the knees and one under here at the ankles. That might feel good. Taking this same pillow and just right at the lower back might feel good to lay on. Just giving you some options out there. Whatever you like for your Savasana or rest period is what you should do for your body. So when you are ready, just make your way down into that comfortable position. We're going to think about starting to let the breath pace just work its way down to its normal pace. All of our work's done for the practice. So now it's time to give rest and restoration back to the body. So find that stillness, find that area where you can rest and be still. Close your eyes. Keep the mind restful. Try to think, try to just acknowledge thoughts that come to the mind, but let them pass so that the mind just stays clear and restful. Maybe do a body scan from the top of the head, relaxing the forehead, relaxing the eye muscles, relaxing the face muscles. Relax the jaw. Try not to press that tongue tight against the roof of your mouth. Relax shoulders into the mat. Just imagine they're just literally melting into the mat. Maybe even imagine someone's giving you a gentle shoulder press down. Relaxing through the torso, all the way down through the abs into the hips. Letting the legs be soft and light. Letting the feet just be totally relaxed. And then you can enjoy that period for about the next 5 minutes or so that we call Savasana. You can start thinking about bringing some small feelings of awareness and awakening back into the mind or into the body, keeping the mind restful. Maybe a deep breath in through the nose, just releasing through the mouth. Feeling those muscles in the chest rise, rib cage open as you inhale and exhale. As you start to think about some movement, maybe starting to move those hands and feet, fingers and toes. Starting to feel that awakening through the body, bending the elbows and the knees. If you like to make your way to your right side to enjoy a few breaths there to end your practice, you could do that now. If you like to stay in your regular corpse pose for that, that's fine too. Either way, I like to encourage maybe a hand or if one or both in touch with the ground, just feeling that nice calming energy coming from the earth. Think about recalibrating the mind and the body as we begin to think about winding down and ending our practice. And then when you're ready, think about making your way to a comfortable seated position. Easy seated, lotus, butterfly, whatever's comfortable for you. So let's take our arms out nice and wide. We'll face our palms up. We'll share our breath together to unify and end our practice, inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the mouth. Let's start our inhale. Bringing hands up overhead, connecting fingertips and palms, exhaling to heart center. Thank you so much for joining us for practice this morning. We'll be here next Saturday. With any luck from the weather, we may try to be outside for you. We'll continue to follow different guidelines and safety regulations and all that, so we'll see where that goes. But certainly thanks for being with us this morning, and we look forward to practicing with you again soon. Namaste, friends.